warm welcome to the show. Now, former Minister of Youth and Sports Development and the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party in Kwara State, Bolaji Abdullahi, is urging the electorate to, quote, chase away the governing All Progressives Congress at all levels in 2023 in order to stop what he describes as the current bleeding of Nigeria. Bolaji Abdullahi, who is a former spokesman of the APC and a renowned journalist, is the PDP Kwara Central Senatorial candidate. He said this at the 33rd Media Parliament program of the State Council of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Ilorin with the theme, Retooling Nigeria for Emerging Challenges. The journalist turned politician who said his mission in the National Assembly will be to engender a conversation for a prosperous Nigeria, is asking Nigerians to beware of the governing APC. I have my colleague here, Tobi, who's Arise Deputy Director of News, joining me to take a look at issues in Kwara politics and, of course, in the governing party. Thank you so much, Tobi. What do you make of such a statement from Bolaji Abdullahi in the race to the 2023 polls, having been a former National Publicity Secretary of the APC?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Always wary of people who are PDP today, APC tomorrow, APC yesterday, PDP today. You know, well, if we go back memory lane, Nigerians are, sometimes they think people don't have memory. We do have memories. He was spokesperson for the party and he was actively involved in APC. But to just wake up suddenly because things got so along the road and ask people to stop supporting APC, well, that is, I believe, is politics. So it's now he's in PDP, and he used to be in PDP anyway.
Yes, before eventually went with the move in 2014.
I think for me, the singular issue is this lack of ideologies among our politicians. I don't see somebody, you are a Republican today in the US, you suddenly become a Democrat. It does happen, but it rarely does happen. But here, it's so easy to move. So sometimes we confuse issues. If you want to seek the support of the electorate as a PDP candidate, well, he probably needs to try to rubbish APC as much as it's possible. But we, and I'm sure the Kwara people too remember, that they forced the APC on them. It's one of those people who fostered the APC on them. And now, he seemed to have known better. Well, whether we'll take his word for it, the electorate in Kwara, in Ilorin, and other areas will have to decide that. But then, for many of us, there are not much difference between the PDP and APC anyway.
Okay, and Bolaji Abdullahi is actually coming out to contest for the Kwara Central Senatorial District. This is a very controversial senatorial district, considering that Bukola Saraki, was the one who was there. Then before, of course, the incumbent Senator Ibrahim Olori Egbe, who has now been stepped aside even by the incumbent Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, and then eventually brought in place Saliu Mustafa, who recently contested the APC National Chairmanship position but didn't make it. In all, this looks like a battle between Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, the governor of Kwara State, and then Bukola Saraki, because these are all their proteges, one way or the other. How do you think this will play out in the face of the Otoge revolution that happened in that state in 2019? Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting race because as far as the Kwara politics is concerned, the Saraki remained very formidable. And if what happened in Osun State is anything to go back, it has shown that you don't go into an election divided. I know there are some disputes within the ruling APC in Kwara State. I'm sure I remember the Minister of Information and Culture has been doing battle with the governor. Even though APC sometimes would like to tell us that it does not matter. But from what happened in the governorship in Osun, we know it does matter. APC cannot afford to go into election disunited, especially when you are fighting people like Saraki, who have a lot of followership in Ilorin. So, like you said, it's a proxy war. So, because if Saraki wins, it has implications for the governor. if the governor's candidate wins, it also has implications for Saraki. So Saraki wants to launch himself back, and if there is no better way to do it by winning his senatorial district for his candidate. And the governor who also wants to say, look, I'm still in control of things here. So it's going to be a tough battle for both sides. Nobody should go to sleep until after the election.
Yeah, and you know, this is actually a battle between two top families in that state, considering that the governor actually comes, his father was like the first senior lawyer in northern Nigeria, the late Abdul Razak Ganiu Fulorenshaw, AGF as he used to be called in those days. And then of course Saraki's father, Olushola Saraki, I mean it used to be a tug of war, but of course Olushola Saraki had the upper hand in that state. And this battle seems to be going on just like we've seen happening in Kenya. I mean, political families and dynasties. Eventually, Saraki's family was set aside alongside the connivance of his sister, Agbemi. But this time around, as we head into 2023, a lot of people are saying that the Otoge revolution seems to have lost steam and is not so much in force any longer, and that the governor himself may find it difficult to come back, while Abuja may be able to support him to defeat Saraki. What do you make of the chances of the governor himself, who is seeking re-election in 2023?
I happened to have interviewed the governor's father. He was the first lawyer from northern Nigeria. Yeah, he's an established household in Kwara politics, and the Saraki too is a very well established family, and therefore the battle somehow is even. Both have enough support, both home and abroad, whether in Abuja or within Kwara itself, both have enough support. But like I said, you know, when you are out, it's easier to make all sorts of promises. But once you got the job, well, people begin to see your weaknesses too. I'm not surprised that the Otoge revolution is going down. If it has not gone down, it's natural for political evolution. You come with something. I mean, people are always looking for something new, and therefore they felt that the Otoge revolution would benefit them. So they choose to say, okay, let's have a taste. Now they've had the taste, and they are in a better position to, as we say in the Southwest, when a woman married to husband, you know the one that is better. So now the Kwara people have married to husband. The Saraki first, now the Abdurazak second. So they are in a better position to choose who should be the real husband. And I'm sure the next election is going to determine that.
Okay, and one would want to wonder where the Minister of Information is at the moment, because he's just been quiet. We haven't heard some. A lot of people would be surprised that Lai Mohammed of 2013, 2014 will be quiet under this kind of political atmosphere that we have, including the Tinubu's candidature for the APC. I mean, he's just lost steam himself too.
Yeah, well, the day of reckonings are here, you know. I mean, I felt that, I'm sure he's thinking that we have less than how many months more. So the days of reckonings are here, and anybody who is a student of history must begin to prepare himself. They will have to render account of their stewardship, will do this, will do that. By now, they can no longer blame PDP as they used to do. They can no longer blame Obasanjo as they used to do. So for Lai Mohammed, my take is that he believes the day of reckonings are coming faster, and therefore he's been minimizing his appearance on the public show. As far as Kwara politics is concerned, I don't know what his Portuguese are doing, but for him, I think he's been really silent. But it's not easy to fight a governor anyway,
yeah, of course.
Even if you are a minister.
All right, we must thank you so much, Tobi Soniyi, who's Rice Deputy Director of News.